All right, guys, I am back, and some disappointing news. This didn't turn out exactly how I wanted to, and I think a lot of it is because I tried to rush it in the last video, and it's not as bright as I wanted it to be. So that is why I saved this piece. So we're going to go about it a little bit different this time. I'll still use that for something. I'm not sure what yet, but I'll just save it back. It's not quite 100% dry yet, but it's not going to have the crisp part that I want. So I'm going to go about it a little bit different way. I'm going to mount it first, and then we'll, when it's dry, then I'll take and strip the cardboard down a little bit. So, and I think I want my cardboard running this direction. So I'm going to mount it here, giving myself enough to kind of make almost like a little mural out of it. So we'll do that really quick, and then I'll show you how I'm going to build up the spine for the other side, or the interior of that of the journal cover. And then we'll Mod Podge that, and then when it's dry, I'll come back and we'll same video probably. I'll come back after everything's dry, and then we'll mount this piece, or we'll finish it off and then we'll mount it. And it might actually be dry by the time we want to do our stuff. So, and then I'll have to figure out how to kind of dull down the white that'll be left. So yeah, I'm just going to Mod Podge quite a bit of it so that we can decide on the placement here. So while I'm doing that, hope you guys are all doing okay. Obviously same day, so I have no idea how I'm doing later in the week. And I want to say you're probably seeing this Monday of next week. So yeah, there's that. And that was fairly painless. I'm still home on my own. Both kids are gone, and I keep hearing like all kinds of weird creaking. And you know what I am going to do is I think I'm going to take this Mod Podge out a little bit more and just put a coat on this. And that way, maybe when we do our tearing, the more antique-y look will come about, if that makes sense. Or it'll darken it up a little bit. So yeah, okay. So we'll set that aside. Cap that for a second. I'm gonna put this back so that I don't, because that was from the last video. All right, so the next steps I'm gonna do is we're gonna set this aside, let it dry out. Bring our cover back, bring this back over. Okay, so since this is cardboard, I myself, it may on its own be strong enough, but I don't always trust that. So once you start compromising stuff, with like glues and things like that, I like just to be sure. So I'm going to cut these here. It's just and actually I could probably use this one, because I think I've cut down things out of it before too. So it's just an old pizza box, not old, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to cut a spine piece to go specifically just in here. And then we're going to add some fabric to the outside. And so that'll help continue the support. And there it is. I was like, I'm not sure exactly where my pencil is. So I'm going to do this before I put on any napkin on the back side here. So let me get my cutter. All these spare napkins sitting on top of it. Isn't that hilarious? And that should be about 2.5 inches, just under 2.5. I'm going to cut 2 of those. And then we'll have to cut it down to the, I believe it's 8 inches, right? Is that what we decided on a little while ago? Yeah, it's about 8 inches. So we'll cut both of these down to 8. And I guess it is that time to open a new Fabri-Tac. I think I threw out the other one, so I'm not sure what I need to do for this one. Probably just cut a hole down in it. I've heard tell that if you have this and then you just poke a hole in it, it keeps it from bubbling up. So I think I've tried it before and it didn't really work for me, but we'll try it again. What's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work and I take it out, right? Actually, I don't think this one's going to work because it's got a film on the cap. So I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. So when I'm working with like slick surfaces like these, I do use the Fabri-Tac. Because it dries quick and it's pretty, you know, it takes kind of the guesswork out of everything. And then if you need to adjust, you totally can. Okay. And again, I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac for this. So this is just the other side of the cover. Like I said, we're just strengthening the spine for when we take it down in there. Okay. All right, now we are ready to put that napkin to use. Okay, and again, I'm just using this one here. We used it a couple of weeks ago. I'm just going to put it on like this, and I'll probably start in the middle and work my way out since it's such a large piece. And then, of course, again, I'll have to pause a little bit to let everything dry, and then you can see it. And then we'll glue the fabric in that I'm going to put on top of the Mod Podge. And like I said, that'll just it'll just keep it what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I think sometimes y'all should just ignore me. I have noticed since it's cardboard, I'm having to kind of change the direction in which I put the Mod Podge. Just to make sure it gets down into the little weaves of the cardboard when the top layer gets wet. Oh, sorry, I'm kind of quiet in my videos today. Just really kind of enjoying the quiet and the peace that I'm getting out of this. I've been kind of high on anxiety lately. I've just like, it's been kind of one anxiety attack after another, and I don't know. I found that, I mean, I was never really an anxious person before all the things with my ex came to be. So I'm starting to understand kind of why and when it happens, and kind of like, obviously we all have triggers or whatever, but it's kind of when I have downtime, I'm kind of feeling like there's something left undone. So just working through that. And it's almost like the more I heal, the more the anxiety happens. And I think that's pretty normal. Everything that I've read so far, that's pretty normal. And it just is like all the emotions finally working the way, like you handle it mentally, and then it takes your body a while to catch up with it, I guess, is the gist that I got. I've been kind of doing some like audiobooks and stuff about that, and it's about one of the books I've been listening to is The Body Keeps the Score, and that's really kind of helped me understand, like, trapped trauma, I guess, is one of the things that they talk about, and how it gets trapped in the body. And so physically, like mentally and everything, I feel like I'm pretty well healed from all the damage that my ex caused. But I think a lot of what's going on with me now is just like the residual physical trauma, right? Like the stuff they don't teach you about in school, you know, like the anxiety. Like I said before all of this, I wasn't really that anxious of a person per se. I did have my moments like everybody, but for the most part, it wasn't usually all that traumatic. But like I said, it hits me in waves when I don't, and it hits me when I least expect it, which is, I don't know if some of you guys have been through that. Let me know, like, where out of nowhere, and it's not that I'm having like negative thoughts or anything like that. It's just, I don't know, just bizarre times of the day. And another article I read was about like menopausal stuff, because I'm definitely menopausal now. And, you know, just like, so I have a hard time sometimes deciding whether it's just, you know, like I said, trauma leaving the body, or is it something more like menopause, right? I don't know. Kind of interested to see what you guys have to say or think about it, because I have heard that anxiety is a part of, or can be a part of, menopause. So yeah. And those of you that are new, I'm pretty open about my life. I'm open about my mistakes that I make while crafting. I don't typically hide anything. I have alluded, I guess would be the good word, to some of the things that happened with my ex, but never really told the story. I'm getting to the point now where I can tell my story to people and not cry about it. So, I might share it publicly now. I think the kids and I are past the worst of all that stuff that he had to offer. So yeah, I've kind of kept it under wraps, mostly because you never know how somebody's going to react when you start telling your story. But now that the refi is almost done, I feel like maybe, since he'll be out of my life for sure, maybe telling my story wouldn't be a bad thing. And I did see a quote the other day about how one day your survival story might become somebody, or your journey might become somebody else's survival guide. So maybe that's true. I guess only time will tell. All right, so here is where I'm going to pause the video. Oh yeah, okay, so before I do, this isn't quite dry, but look at how much more vibrant that is than the other one. And this is what I was going for. So definitely no paint and wait to strip, if you guys are kind of following along and doing your thing too. So I hate to say ignore what I did before, because I mean, it has its own beauty in it, but definitely do this first. So, okay, I am going to pause. I'm going to dry and cut around all this, and then I will be back. Okay, guys, so the journal isn't drying as quickly as I wanted it to. So in this one, we're going to do just a little bit more, and then I'll see how it's drying. If nothing else, we'll fold some papers and that sort of thing, because I've got quite a bit to do, like, in prep for the next video. So this is dry, so we're gonna take it down. I'm gonna use my, oops, sorry for the loud noise. I'm gonna take it down with my little trimmer. And then we'll strip it and kind of try to maybe finish this part out. And then in the next one, we'll mount it in its thing. I don't think that this is the shape I'm going to keep it, but I'm not going to know that until I get to see if we are about right on the pulling up and kind of stripping it, you know? So yeah, I guess that's kind of the blessing and the curse of stopping and starting videos, right? Never quite know what you're going to get. You never know where the journals are going to take you, right? At least I don't. And we might go ahead and use some white paint again too, and then just take some more Mod Podge around the edge. We'll see. Maybe we'll just see where it leads. Each journal kind of just speaks for itself and where, and like, in what direction it wants to go. So, and like most of you probably already know, you got to kind of let it speak and know when's enough, and you know, and sometimes it's not always going to go the way you thought or hoped, so you always have to kind of take that in with a grain of salt too, and not get overly frustrated with yourself or the project. So yeah, I can't believe it's already after 1. Oh my goodness, right? Yep. So I was originally thinking about tearing it, if that makes sense, like kind of just jaggedy, but then I got to thinking an oval might actually be nicer. But again, I'm just going to kind of let it speak to where it needs to go, right? And that also means I've got to find an oval shape to use as a guide, if you will. It just seems like a good day to make a mess, doesn't it? Wondering if I do like a light score mark, if I can get it a little cleaner when I'm stripping, like maybe it'll put in a little bit of stopping. It seemed to help just a tad. right, now I'm just down to kind of this little spot here. As far as like the design and keeping it right where I want it. Okay, now that we got the image kind of how we want it, well, maybe not. I kind of think I might want some of that out of there. All right, now I'm going to strip a little bit more of this off the bottom. Oh boy. So now what do we want to do? Well, by the time I actually get this stripped to my liking, it will probably be time for the cover to be almost dry, huh? All right. Now what to do. So I like the image how it is, so I'm thinking that maybe we go ahead and take my white paint and then lightly and gently go over those areas just up and through here. Catching just the tips, not taking it down into any of the image or anything. And then I will, again, pause the video and just let that paint thoroughly dry the way we want it. And that way, when I go over the Mod Podge again, we're not going to have an instant repeat of last time. Since I'm not exactly sure where we're going with the shape of what we're making, I'm going to go ahead and just cover all of these outside edges too with some white paint. Okay. All right. Sorry to do it to you guys again, but I'm going to pause, dry, come back with the Mod Podge, and then we'll cut out the shape. All right. I'll be right back. All right, I am determined that we are going to wrap this part of the project up today. So yeah, I'm just going to throw some Mod Podge on this white to give the antique look. I don't know why I keep spilling my Mod Podge. So yeah, this antique Mod Podge should kind of yellow up the white that we just put on. And then again, we'll set the other aside, and I'm going to pull out the cover, and we'll get a couple of things going on it. And then I think once I set that, this should be dry enough to cut down. I'm going to sit with sand. I'm kind of hoping that this Mod Podge will just kind of strengthen everything up. Once it's like finally dry. All right. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. We'll get that drying and we'll get it cut down. And then some of the other things we're gonna do for this cover, we'll need to do here in this video. So set that up there for now. Hopefully it'll stay. And I've got the burps today, so I apologize if one sneaks out while I'm talking. And I have as yet determined whether I'm going to what kind of closure I'm going to put on this. And actually, I could do that now. Let's see what I got here. Let's see, I think I've got some sari silk left in cream. Just thinking if we put it in the middle, we put it down first. Some of the sari silk I got is like real brittle. It wasn't whatever their method was where I got it from. I don't honestly remember where I got it from now, but wherever I got it from, I don't know what, I've heard someone say that if it's real brittle, then it's like over dyed or something. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys knows what term they were using. I think might be a little bit of a smaller closure, but I think we'll use this. Let's make sure. Yeah, it should be okay. Might be a smaller, I guess it might be a little bit smaller, but it's all good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tack this down on the spine a little bit. And let's see, so we did 8 inches, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm gonna go up to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So somewhere in this general area, just a tap, there we go. Just gonna, the cover will end up being layered, so, or the spine I should say, because we're gonna put some laces and things like that on there. So I'm not overly worried about making sure it's, gosh, I cannot find my words today, guys. I'm gonna grab my lace doilies here. And it's a big bin. So I gotta make a little bit of room for it. And I've got quite a few we can play with. It kind of looks nice. Even though it's not like 100% done, I might pull this one over so we can kind of coordinate a little bit with it. A little bit bigger one we can cut down. Seems a little bit dark, doesn't it? So we're looking more for like a cream, I think. We got all kinds of things up in here. And a lot of these I've gotten either in Happy Mail or I found in, ooh, what about this? We'll kind of cut it down. Ooh, I kind of like that. For like the base. And then we'll kind of cut it down and then cut the other side. Okay, and I actually am going to change gears for a second because I forgot that we are putting color around the edges to finish that off. Okay, so I'm gonna double check the measurement on this one just to make sure I'm right about where I need to be. Okay. Now what I'm going to do really quick, and maybe this will, I doubt it'll be dry. Anyways, we might just get these on, and then the next video will be just like putting it all together. It's kind of one of those gotta start and stop stuff, right? So I'm going to be using around the edges here the rich copper metallics. I use these quite a bit, and I'm just going to go, because I'm going to put copper color corner rounds on it. So I'm just going to kind of finish off the cardboard and everything with the copper, just using my nifty little finger tool. And then again, we'll have to let it dry a little bit. That's why I was saying maybe that other piece will be dry enough that we can at least get that somewhat taken care of. I love this stuff. It just adds so much to a project, and you get a ton of projects out of it. It's by far one of my most favorite things to use in my projects. So if you're looking for a new thing, I would definitely say these alchemy waxes are pretty spot on. I love the way that they go on. They do take a little bit to dry, and I do always throw out the caution that most definitely, if you're sensitive to smells, then you definitely want to think about this, because it's kind of like a turpentine smell. And you know what I thought? We do have like a whole nother episode, because we got to deal with the whole inside here and what we're going to do with that, and what pockets and that sort of thing. I'll probably have to clean some of that off my mat, but yeah, it just puts like a nice little polished edge type on there. Clean that up off my fingers, and then we'll get the corner rounders on. And I'm just using the Tim Holt corners. I'm 99% sure they don't make these anymore, because I have looked and 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 looked some more. And this set actually came from my friend Lori. I don't know where she found them. But yeah, I've looked all over. I looked all over Etsy, looked at all my stores. So yeah, I'm 90% sure they don't sell this. These are the Tim Holtz rounds. On my Amazon card, I do have a couple saved, but anyways, these particular ones are Tim Holtz. Okay, so I use a little bit of Fabri-Tac on it, and then I let it set for a minute. I'm going to flip it over. And then I just really kind of just push them over like so. And then I usually can get them down pretty tight without a lot of fuss. And if there's any glue, I just, you know, make sure I wipe that up. Okay, I'll just double check, make sure I don't got any glue squirting out there. And I'll probably squeeze them down a little tighter, maybe with some of the little tiny pliers I have over here, but I'll know that for sure in a little bit. You kind of have to be careful so you don't get like, it's soft enough metal that it likes to leave ridges in it. So I'm usually pretty careful about that. And maybe I'll show you how I do that in a minute to try to avoid that. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. Sometimes we get lucky and it works. Okay. All right, so I have these little tiny pliers. They do have, oh wait, these ones do not have the grip on them, so I won't need it. Normally what I would do is if yours has like little knobs there, I forget what they call them, teeth, I guess, is then I will wrap what I'm squeezing in there and go around the edges so that it doesn't, you know, doesn't create any ridges or whatever in the metal. But since these don't have any teeth, I'll call it good with this. Really just pinch them down in there. Okay. All right, we are getting there. All right, so that's phase one. And let's see, what else can we accomplish in this video? Not really for sure. So let's see if that other piece is dry. And you know what, while we're here, oh, no, I'll do it after the video. I was gonna say, while we're here, I might as well just clean up the little pieces here, like off my mat, but it's just rubbing alcohol is what I use to get it all off. So let's see, where's my other little piece? There it is. Okay. And it's not quite dry yet. So I think I will, I guess we could go back to the, well, no, because we don't want to do that because I'll get that stuff on the lace and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to call this one a video complete, and then I will be back in the next one and we'll finish it off. All right. Bye guys.